you know, we've seen these demonstrations in Iran before, but this was bigger and more people have died. But I think maybe more people have died because he said he was going to help. This looks like a Bay of Pigs to me. This looks like America's going to come and help you. Where is it? Remember the Kurds in '91 when they thought they were going to get help from America? Vietnam could make the same claim. I mean, a lot of people have felt let down by us. I thought Trump was different. Where are you on this? Because all these bodies that I see, these body bags in Iran, I think a lot of those people went in the streets because they thought, oh, he said he's got our back this time. Where's the help?
Well, the generals have told us that short of sending in a massive number of troops, it will be another Iraq.
Well, then what did he mean when he said?
I don't know, but if you look at it from a larger, perspective, because of Israel, this is one person's opinion. Because of Israel and President Trump's backing of Israel, the Middle East is safer than it has been in 20 years.
Absolutely.
Hamas is on its knees, Hezbollah is on its knees.
I gave him credit for that,
Iran no longer looks invincible. And you know who is applauding us every step of the way? Not out loud, but the Arab countries.
Look,
every one of them.
If Venezuela causes Cuba to fall, if he somehow gets Venezuela, Cuba, and Iran all to be not these horrible places they were, he should get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Did you see that? Did you?
Yes. Yes, I am coming back. That should be a lot better. Let's have a look. Yeah, you should have us in 720 at least now. We are back in glorious high definition. Just bear with me 1 sec, I've got to just sort a few settings out on the old just take one very quick second and then we shall commence. In the meantime, people, make sure you've hit thumbs up and whatnot.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Alright. Most things should be back as they were. Hastily move on, in that case, to a shout out to all the members on the channel. Yes, ta-da, the amazing IT team, with much guidance from yours truly. So a shout out to the really clever one there, Caesar, the one who doesn't say much, but some of the other lads swear they've heard him talking. He's really good. So that should be all well and good for you now. Still might have to iron out a couple of creases as we go. It won't affect the stream itself, it won't cut off or anything. No buffering, just the size of logos and things. Because when you change the aspect ratio, yada yada yada, I'll save the video technology lecture for later. We are now up to, it's actually, do have to adjust this as we go as well, 162, just taking a couple off there who haven't renewed over the last 24 hours. But we are doing really well on the way to the target of 250 with 162. Thanks to lots of you renewing recently, as well as some very generous gifted memberships also. You can also help us out with a super chat if you like, or a super sticker. You can buy us a coffee if you like. Check out the link in the description. Super thanks for also open if you're watching back later on, people. Thank you very much. Just got one more quick setting to adjust. The background music's going to cut off for about 5 seconds. Or less. And then we'll get into proceedings with the opening comedy clip. We've got 3, another triple billing this evening coming up. As well as a few other bits and pieces, the latest on the now official hot seats, Gorton and Denton. Paul Mason, there's been an article in the Canary about him, faces some accusations of connivery and double crossery and goodness knows whatery. So we'll be taking a look at that, plus a few other bits and pieces. Keep us posted on how you're all doing in the chats. Specs Bean Farmer also celebrating 9 months of membership. Solid. It's been great to have you for 9 months. Excellent. Graham Turner raising the flags for Palestine, of course, we do like to see that. In chat at any time, or watermelons. Paul Mason loves the spice, says Specs Bean Farmer. Perhaps seen hanging around, literally looking like the arms hanging down, in Piccadilly Gardens. For anybody who doesn't know him by reputation or anything, from the northwest, used to be this sort of regional news host. Apparently he's since gone off the rails on this. Well, he's had a few books out that are complete and utter trash, let's put it that way. He doesn't know how to identify basic areas of the political spectrum, despite claiming to be an expert on things such as left-wing politics, specifically communism, Leninism, Maoism, etc. Also claims to be a historical scholar in that regard. If you want to know what we think of him here at My Left Eye, we have done 1 or 2 videos about his previous escapades, so do check that out. But he could be up to no good, apparently, according to the Canary, which is part of Squawk Box. I'm sure you've heard of one or both of those things. That's some quality socialist media for you people. Hysterical scholar, yeah, idiot. Absolutely hysterical. Now, obviously people always dig up old tweets. In fact, we're going to be doing some of that this evening on the stream. But where Paul Mason's concerned, he's another one who claimed that he backed Corbyn, and then since the 2019 general election, or even in the run-up to, has absolutely trashed him. Backed Starmer, of course, wholeheartedly. Has his mouth so far up Keith's arsehole, but he still doesn't get a candidacy. He still doesn't get a selection for a seat, which is what he really wants. He'll do anything to try and defend Labour, and at the same time as trashing anyone who's a threat to them with underhanded tactics and cajolery. Ephra Wells, yes, the infamous mind map of the left. So apparently he had this sort of map, if you can imagine a sort of basic CAD sort of thing, but he's used it as a sort of connections. You know the meme that we use on Keith's catchphrases for plan, where there's the board and the wall. I can't remember which TV show it's from, or film. And it's all over the place, and this guy's got this wild theory. It's kind of like that, but these, you know, there's names on there, obviously Corbyn and other left-wing politicians. You've got Polanski now probably in there as well, Sarah Sultana. And just trying to make such tedious, convoluted links between each of them, and apparently it was leaked somehow. But you've got to see it to believe it, if that's how his mind works. Anyway, more to be revealed coming up on stream. Let's kick off with a opening comedy clip. The first one actually comes from someone who I don't know who to credit. I've seen one or two people posting this around in the last couple of days. I do recognise the guy though, so I'm hoping that you, dear viewers, will be able to help me out in this regard. It's a rare occasion that I can't credit whoever does the comedy clip. If I do find out, I will put links, etc. in the description of the stream. So go and subscribe. I'm assuming they've got some sort of, place that they want you to subscribe or whatever to this unnamed parody guy doing US spokes on behalf of ICE. Take it away, unnamed guy.
I'm not sure why you're all overcomplicating it. It's really quite simple. You can come to a protest, but not if you're bringing a gun. Unless it's for protection, but not protection from people with guns. You can attack people holding skateboards for reacting to you holding a gun, but not the people holding guns reacting to you holding your phone. Because being underage shooting a gun you didn't legally purchase equals concerned citizen, but being an adult with a permit for a gun you've responsibly concealed equals domestic terrorist. Even if we only see it after we've already shoved you to the ground, which retroactively changes the reason we shoved you to the ground. Clearly, the teenager who shot people deserves a podcast, and the ICU nurse trying to help people avoid pepper spray is an agitator, because we have a zero-tolerance policy for disobeying uniformed officers that goes all the way back to January 7th, 2021. And remember, they're only in Minneapolis to secure the border because of Somalia. Glad we cleared that up, because so many of you in the media have been focused on the wrong things. Now, I am happy to take any questions you have about the President's Ballroom.
Excellent from the as yet unnamed parody comedian there. There wasn't even a little sort of TikTok thing at the end. I'm completely in the dark, but please do enlighten me, people, if you know who that is or was. Aaron, great to see you on the chat. Yeah, what a thing to tune into. What was that? Oh yeah, of course. Mason also claims he's an expert on Trotsky. Of course. It should go without saying. And thus Marx as well. But at the moment, yeah, I don't think he'd know Leon Trotsky if Trotsky jumped out of a tree and landed on his head, shouting "Power to the proletariat." I don't know. We'll come on to that after the Gorton and Denson stuff. I'm sure that Mason would love to be up for candidacy in the seat, but alas, he will not yet again. He always seems to rear his head around by-election time as well. He's, do you need a candidate, Keith? You'll notice a pattern once if he comes into your awareness. And just like that, the on-screen chat should be okay now. Don't worry, you're not tripping or anything. I am still slightly adjusting logos as we go. Minor adjustments, people. Specs, yes, we are back. Don't give up. Never give up. We're just getting started on my left eye. But yeah, no streams coming to you with a few teething problems in 720, at least. Higher definition to come with further tech upgrades. Possibly even a cam. It'd probably still be faceless. I'm saying the cam would be of me. But even if I pointed it out of the window to an empty sky, it'd still be more entertaining than the Liz Truss show. Just a little feature. Possibly. Who knows? Keep your suggestions coming. Whatever. Let's get on with it.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
First up, yeah, Gorton and Denton. Current hot seats. This by-election will probably be in about 4 weeks' time, possibly 5. Remains to be seen. We did discuss this yesterday. Got some recent content out about it as well. There are a few updates though. Apologies anybody who follows us on social media. I was informed by a normally reliable source that the Greens had selected a candidate. However, someone else from the Greens has gotten back to me. Somebody else, that is, and let me know that that's not been confirmed yet. And in saying that, I'm not saying that I have revealed it before it's been announced. So I had to retract that a short time after we posted. So, at time of current on stream, there is no current Green Party candidate that's been announced. But Andy Burnham has responded to his lack of candidacy, his lack of selection, because of the NEC's denial. They and Keir Starmer, of course, stating that it would be too inconvenient. Democracy's too expensive, you know, can't go around having another expensive mayoral election just to bring you some, you know, democracy or whatever it is that you call it. Heavens no. We've got defence spending to think of. No, I'm not defending Burnham, of course. He's a Blairite and he voted for the Iraq War, and it's said that he's trying to get on side with NHS privatisation and other things. But this whole thing does reek, obviously, of control, top-down control, within the Labour Party. Something that Keith, of course, promised he'd fight once he became leader. He's been pretty close-mouthed about the whole thing since it happened, apart from a few very brief statements. Andy Burnham, but in this clip he goes into it in a bit more detail, so let's see what's happening.
I think always in these moments, Mike, it does flush something out, and I think what it flushes out is something that, you know, I kind of, you know, left Westminster feeling sort of frustrated about, and when I kind of see it again, I think it needs to be confronted, and that is this culture where, in the aftermath, people behind their hand to journalists think they can just lie, basically.
Well, the people in your party say to these journalists, you're self-indulgent in doing this, and these are your people.
Well, they said something else. They said that I was wrong to say that the party told the media before they told me. And they said I had gone out there and been untruthful. But I can disprove that. You know, there is just no way that they can.
That was another thing. Apparently, he found out through that he wasn't officially told before it went out to the press. And yeah, that was how he found out. I think someone who he knew called him into a room and, oh, but look, they told you to piss off. That's the way it went down.
They can say that. And then on Tuesday, it was said that I was told explicitly that I would be blocked.
Why would they lie about something like this?
Because
your own party.
And I'm not blaming anybody at the top of the government, and certainly not the Prime Minister. And we had a really good conversation about this. And I respect everything that he told me. But there are always in politics, I saw it around Tony Blair, I saw it around Gordon Brown, I saw it around the Conservative Prime Ministers from the 2010s onwards.
Yeah, this isn't an original, but I saw a joke going around whatever Blue Sky the other day. So, a Blair fan, a Brown fan, a Miliband fan and a Corbyn fan all walk into a bar and the barman says, "What will you have, Mr. Burnham?" Badum-tish.
Where some people just think they can say what they like to the media. And why do they do it, you're asking me? They do it to denigrate the character, impugn the integrity of elected politicians. They did it to Wes Streeting not so long ago. And it's almost like the stock in trade of Westminster.
Well, it is, because they're just the Tories in red rosettes. That's just neoliberalism for you, which is what Tony Blair was all about. If it was somebody else, he might not have much to say, but because it's himself and it impedes his ambitions, he might be sitting there thinking, well, that set me back by at least half a decade before I can have another stab at it. Possibly even longer. So it's been 11 years since he stood as leader. That was before he became mayor, obviously. Under Blair, he had a ministerial position. So he's certainly been a few different chairs of democracy, but not leader of the Labour Party. We do know, of course, that Matt Goodwin, the GB News host, will be standing on behalf of Reform, plc.co.uk/recycled Tories. And he's been busy on social media as well, but not just campaigning. Removing old tweets is something that he's been rushing to do. But some particularly observant people have been pretty good at screenshotting what he posted before he could have the chance to delete them. Here's another one. We saw a clip yesterday where he was slagging off Manchester. And now this. He says he finds it difficult to believe that Manchester finished above Rome, Madrid and London in the most livable cities list, with Vancouver at number 1. That was way back in 2009. So he would have had to do a fair old bit of scrolling. Or maybe just Control Left Manchester, everything that pops up, just gone, erased. It's in the shredder, so to speak. He's such a slime ball, isn't he? I really hope that the people of Gorton and Denton have got the nous to turn their noses up at this guy. But the Greens are still the favourites at the bookies, and they're even rising higher in a lot of the polls that have favoured reform recently. yesterday we talked about the favourability of Find Out Now as one example. But even their polling has put the Greens a lot closer to reform. So it's good news. It's looking good for Zach so far.
Jurassic Park.
Okay, we'll get on to the Paul Mason story next. Let's see what's happening with that one. If you just join us on stream, make sure you've hit thumbs up and all relative buttons. I'll just get this queued up. It's another great one from the Canary, as I said earlier. Excuse me, a bit raspy this evening. I need more tea lubricant. Michael, thanks for joining us on stream. Well, we were just talking about the Green candidacy, and I didn't name names for confusion's sake, but I did say that we retracted a post earlier, and I believe you're referring to the same person. Has that now been officially declared? Hannah Spencer's the name, the full name. Like I said, a couple of people pointed out that it's not official. Good to see you on stream, Mike. I'm very excited as well. I'm not sure if it'll be worth doing a late night stream, whatever Thursday that'll land on, but we'll see. Yeah, if anything comes up, if you notice anything that's been confirmed about any party's candidacy whilst we're on stream, although it's pretty late in the day, keep us posted. Now time for the expose piece. Oh, Mason, what have you done now? Collaboration with British intelligence, say the Canary. Let's see what's happening, people. So a new series of leaked emails apparently have revealed discredited, quotes, left journal. He's not left at all. Let's not even entertain the notion. He's an agent provocateur, just trying to prop up Starmer, really. So the Canary quite rightly put it in air quotes, left journalist Paul Mason's legal meltdown after his collaboration with state security services was exposed. Mason's emails with intelligence-linked figures were outed by the Grey Zone in 2022. He now works as an arms industry-funded think tank. Well, how about that? Publicly, Mason responded to the 22 leaks with a non-denial denial. A non-denial denial? Whilst you're trying to figure that one out as well. I'll read on. Claiming the emails may be altered or fake and denied recognising a bizarre and now well-known chart he sent to intelligence assets showing the leaks he imagined existed among left groups, left media and Russian and Chinese state actors. But the leaked emails show him admitting to lawyers that he did create it and trying to find angles to wage a legal war on the Grey Zone and other left outlets that publicised his collaboration. Well, yes, Davinia, he'll deny that he denied as well, if you give him the chance. So where do we begin? Arms industry funded think tanks. Okay. So they certainly don't have a left-wing agenda, do they? Arms industry funded think tanks, yeah. Members who go to such meetings, I'm sure, wake up in the mornings and look out the window, glorious skyline, and socialism, how could we spread it further? Do you know what? I'm sick of all this money and control and means of production. Let's just spread it all out and share the opportunities and prosperity evenly throughout society. Yeah. You are dreaming. So a non-denial denial. Jumping straight... Oh, this is fake news. Jumped straight to fake news. So that is the charts in question, of course, that we mentioned earlier. So these leaks come hot on the heels of Mason threatening Zach Polanski with 10 years in prison in an ex-post. I hadn't heard about that one. Polanski had mocked Mason. Oh, there it is, there it is. Okay. Maybe Zoom and Enhance might be able to pick some of these names and links out. Just try and check out one or two of them. Zoom and Enhance only goes so far. No, you can't make anything out there. So there's Zach Polanski sharing the chart anyway. You can look it up for yourselves if you don't already know about it. And he's responded. He's quoted the tweet. Here Polanski spreads disinfo publicly attributed to Russian intelligence and is disseminated by pro-Kremlin Grey Zone. See, he cannot type a paragraph without mentioning Russia or Vladimir Putin as well. Yeah. Starmer's going to be the one to keep Putin at bay. I know what I'm talking about. I'm Paul Mason. Here's my shit book. Fucking Russian intelligence and disseminated by pro-Kremlin Grey Zone, which since 2023 has been a crime, attracting 10-year jail sentence if done knowingly. In Mason's Britain, you'd get 10 years for this. Exposing my you know, he who protesteth too much, I think. A case of that. Here's a chart that confirms you're a lying dickhead who knows nothing about politics. You should go to prison for a decade. You're never gonna hear anyone saying that they're a Masonite, really. I don't know how he manages to attribute thousands of followers on various platforms. Every accusation's a confession, yeah, probably a bit of narcissism in there as well. Davinia wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I shall read on though. Mason's lawyers were to pour cold water on his wish to deplatform or demonetise the Grey Zone. Like him, however, they were apparently keen to launch a criminal prosecution against the publication in the United States, presumably on the basis of his unfounded claims that they were funded by or working for Russia. But even the lawyers told Mason that he had no realistic prospect of arguing that he wasn't in contact with Britain's secret states, because clearly he was. Now, yeah, as lawyers go, there are some out there, you know, a lot of the worst people who've done the worst things you can think of had their day in court and were represented by somebody. But even even lawyers like, no, this is as bang to rights as it gets. You might as well have done this like at a police conference or something, because you're never going to get away with it. So this will be probably a case of, yeah, plead guilty to try and get credits, as they call it. You get about 10% off any sentence if you plead guilty at the first opportunity. It's like an incentive, really. And he's probably going to have to go down that road if it comes to it. So he had asked his lawyers to review a rant he had drafted in which he denied collaborating and accused his critics of deliberately putting his life in danger. They responded with an edit, toning down a bit his denials because it was difficult to say you don't have any contacts with Britain's secret state. I don't know. I don't know what else they've got. Like all these letters signed from Britain's secret state to Paul Mason. Yes, that Paul Mason, and then whatever. Signed date, pictures of them together holding up signs that say, "We are in cahoots, we are in league." So it's undeniable, apparently. Following these revelations, Mason's public posts were routinely mocked by left-wingers. Yeah, no shit. I'm doing it right now. Pointing to his disgrace by email. So too was his string of failed attempts to secure selection to contest a parliamentary seat for Labour. I'm sure this will help. The pro-war Mason was also caught and exposed exclusively by Squawk Box, engaging in a pro-Starmer, pro-Israel meltdown and accusing an audience member of anti-Semitism. We did a video about that in the sort of early days of the channel making videos. So do go and check it out. So he's at a town meeting. I'll boil it down. Local lady expresses concern about Gaza, Palestine, so on and so forth, as well the UK's position and complicity. Mason, who's on some sort of panel, I believe. There's only an audio recording of it, by the way. Turns around and says to the woman, "Well, why didn't you just say Jewish people?" Or, sorry, he says, "Why didn't you just say Jew?" Completely a pathetic attempt to make that false association, as we know. So that's what that refers to. And then he had a meltdown on Twitter, yeah. It was an absolutely mad rant. For full disclosure, Paul Mason also self-owned when an attack on Squawk Box went wrong. Mason tried to compare Squawk Box to the right-wing press after they exposed Starmer's involvement in Beergate. Just by the way, Starmer did get fined, but that was the COVID thing, if you remember. But the fine disappeared after Durham's chief constable was leaned on from above. Mason's attack on Squawk Box backfired badly, with hundreds of respondents praising the factual coverage and mocking Mason for supporting the brill-creamed blancmange. just adjust that on the screens as well. It's cutting off some of the lettering. Sorry about that. There we go. I don't know if you can read those. I do follow some of these accounts myself, so make notes of the names and handles. Worth a follow. Mountain says Squawk Box are reporting the facts. That's the job of the media. Your boss Starmer is allowing hypocrites, same as Johnson. You preposterous fool. Society Matashine says, what's the political function of Squawk Box? To expose hypocrisy. As they rightly do. Damien Wiley, Donnell Camo, I'm sure a lot of you know him as well. Curious Cat, Frank, all standing up for Squawk Box. Doesn't look like Paul Mason's got too many fans who would jump in and defend him. These episodes further fueled the avalanche of derision every time he posted and didn't persuade Starmer to smile on his would-be candidacies. Discussing the latest emails, the charts with his legal team, Mason told them that he had only shared it with pro-Ukraine war academic Emma Bryant. In fact, even if that claim were true, it would not change its significance. Yeah. Britain claims to be one of the world's leading experts on information warfare and propaganda. She's also been accused of being an intelligence services asset, and engaging in extensive correspondence with Mason and intelligence-linked figures. Like Mason, Bryant has tried to use lawyers to silence those discussing her security state connections. Wow. He's a fucking spook. Just skip down a bit further. So, lawfare. See what they did there? Despite numerous setbacks and the knockbacks from his legal advisors, Mason remained determined to wage lawfare on his critics. This includes enlisting the UK's National Crime Agency against Grey Zone and journalist Kit Clarenberg. That's a name that I'm sure is familiar to viewers as well. Despite these setbacks, Mason remained determined to weaponise the law against Grey Zone for the high crime of factual journalism. On December the 16th, 22, he informed Jaffrey he'd given a verbal witness statement to two officers from Britain's National Crime Agency. The officers, Mason wrote, had indicated it was likely the UK will pass the investigation into the hack on me over to US law enforcement, and that a statement needs to be robust enough for the US courts. So far, his wish list remains unfulfilled, and probably will forevermore as well. In none of the leaked communications with his lawyers does Paul Mason appear to deny that he was working with intelligence assets, intelligence-linked figures, or indeed British intelligence directly to target sites and individuals he didn't like. This means, as Clarenberg puts it in the latest expose, that the faded journalist remains dogged by accusations that he was himself a British intelligence asset all along, with even prominent mainstream reporters posing the question to Mason in social media exchanges. Whether this triggers yet another public meltdown is, for the moment, a matter of conjecture. For now, he seems to be obsessing over the Greens despite insisting that they have no chance of defeating Labour, and of course with promoting the Ukraine war. I'll put a link to this article in the description of the stream as well, so you'll be able to find another link at the bottom. You can see there the latest Grey Zone revelations in full, if you want to check that out in a bit more detail in a granular fashion, because I know that some of you are sticklers for details, and there's nothing wrong with that. All I can say is that I'm completely unsurprised completely unsurprised. I will say something as well, people, with regards to Mason, where this channel's concerned. I've noticed in the past, so people who watch previous content, the video that we did about that rants that I mentioned, Paul Mason making, views of that seem to come in chunks of sort of like periodically, perhaps once a week, which is instead of a sort of a steady sort of, you know, people just watching your older content, almost as if someone or some people perhaps going over it with a fine-tooth comb. And if any of those people are watching now, I just wanted you to know that I know what you're up to, because my left eye sees all. So yeah, people's strongest suspicions, it turns out, are now undeniably true, even to the extent that his lawyers say he wouldn't have a fighting chance of denying them, or perhaps seeking compensation against those who've accused him. So you can say it all you like. Maybe it was even Mason's lawyers going over some of my left eye's content, but if you're watching right now, then your boy doesn't have a chance, because now it's all plain to see. Doc Davies, nice to see you on chat. Idiosyncrasy, you didn't know he was originally fine. Is that Starmer you're referring to there? Yeah, from the article. I'd forgotten about that, to be honest, the beer gate thing during COVID. Of course, that was some, what, 6 years ago now? Graham Turner, yeah. Mason's lost the plot and showed his true character. He's certainly not digging up where his responses are concerned. And every time he just goes off on one, and people want to treat him as a serious politician, someone who you'd elect to office. There's nothing wrong with being bombastic and enthusiastic, of course, or passionate. We have the likes of, you know, Zara Sultana, who's known for her enthusiasm. Zach Polonsky now as well. Several others. But in Mason's case, he'd be an absolute liability to his constituents. Yeah, but he'll never stand. He'll never stand for Labour, that's for sure. What do you say about Paul Mason, Rick?
Pathetic!
Yeah. I think we're all on board with that sentiment. Right, let's move on. Just a very quick adage where UK politics is concerned. Latest poll from north of the border in Scotland. On yesterday's PMQs we heard David Lammy trashing the SNP and the Greens, clearly threatened by them, and just look at that. Let's play a game of Spot the Red. It's a lot trickier than it was last time around, so that's the projection. Holyrood, YouGov poll, SNP with a very clear majority there. Lib Dem's picking up a few, so those are the latest stats in a bit closer detail. We've got some other specific mapping here where the larger populations are concerned. Of course, Edinburgh, Glasgow. Glasgow looks like all of the constituencies will go to the SNP. Edinburgh getting a Green seat according to this, is that right? As well as Lib Dem. Then Shetland Isles, Lib Dem as well, and Orkney. Greens are up 3, actually. Lib Dem up 5. But you see in some areas, yeah, the dreaded teal, lighter blue, turquoise-ish, whatever shade you'd describe it as. Which does surprise me. To be honest. Shocked to see. Although it's a very small amount. Some of Scotland going for reform. But overall, yeah, looks as though the moves for independence are back, or will be back. That poll took place between the 8th and 14th of this month. Any Scots in live? Do we have any Scots in? Let's see in the chats. We do have a good question in the chat there, Michael. Yeah, just back to the Gorton and Denson thing I didn't mention. Your party have actually now officially endorsed the Greens. I don't think they're going to be putting up a candidate. If it was about Gorton and Denson, as far as the general election goes, no, I'm sure that they'll be standing themselves, although really I'm hoping that there's going to be some sort of agreement so as not to split the vote, of course, given its best potential. Turquoise like Ike. Idiosyncrasy, you stay in Scotland. English by birth, Scottish by choice, Michael. Well, it's very close on the independence vote, wasn't it? Could you imagine? Who knows? That would have transformed both countries. You could have seen a mass exodus away from Cameron's Britain, as it would have been back then. And why not? Yeah, just wanted to give that a quick mention. What else do we have? Is that confirmed now about Hannah Spencer? Because I still don't know myself. Ah, okay. Thanks for the update there. So with incredible speed and accuracy, my goodness, what a stream. There we have the candidate. See, when everything's working as it should do, very quick, proficient streams. So that is Hannah Spencer, who's going to be the Green Party candidate for Gorton and Denton. If you are watching that seat, from that seat, get your butts out there and vote.
Jurassic Park.
So well done on winning the candidacy as well. We'll keep you up to speed. Could be some quotes or interviews coming up. So she won it by quite a margin, 457. With 65 for Fessel and 63 for Sarah. Quite excited as well there, I see, Michael. I'm just glad that they've actually announced it now, that we know who we're going to be backing. Because Goodwin's been out there, as we mentioned earlier. Yeah, he lives 200 miles away from here. 200 miles away. Oh, that's cool. I've not seen that No Justice interview. Yeah, I'll definitely check that one out, Michael. Thanks for the pointer. Yeah, I was catching up on a No Justice stream for a little bit yesterday. But I will check that out. That's good news. That's good news. Unless you're Keir Starmer, of course.
Oh, God!
They're too bloody popular.
Wimp! Pervert! Knobend!
Titter titter. Another quick bit on UK politics. Something else that came up on yesterday's live stream with Keith's catchphrases, or Lammy's lingo as it was all this xenophobia at the moment and the hypocrisy and double standards. Yeah, we're willing to have them as the third biggest trading partner. Let's buy shitloads of cheap disposable shite from China and then throw it into landfill or the sea. But no, they're all we don't spy on anyone. We haven't got. We're England. We're Britain. We're the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Never had it. They're all Chinese. All the spies are Chinese. So of course Starmer's been visiting China. He's visiting Japan as well. But all the focus has been on China. He's managed to sort of apparently get some sort of agreement about engine parts for the boats that people traffickers use, which is a bit long-winded. So yeah, there's been all this sort of talk of the threat of China. But this came up in an LBC interview. And when it comes to political rivalry on the global stage, there are no comparisons to be made between Britain and China in terms of economy size, wealth, influence, that sort of thing. But our politicians still like to act as though we run the world at the barrel of a gun, as though it's 200 years ago. So yeah, Chinese spokesperson was on LBC and just spoke frankly, put it the way it was. There is no rivalry between Britain and China, and there's you know, when the politicians use the term threat, as though China spend a lot of the time thinking about the UK, it simply isn't so. It really isn't so. They're going to be the biggest economy in the world. They're the second most populous country in the world as well. It's beyond apples and oranges. So let's see what's happening. This is a great response from Victor Argo, I believe this is.
Are you a competitor? Are you an ally? Are you a threat? How would you regard your relationship with Britain?
First of all, between China and Britain, from the Chinese perspective, Britain is not a rival, it's not a competitor, it is not an enemy, it's not an adversary. Britain is just an important country to get along with in peace and in friendship and for mutual benefit. Now, how Britain looks at China, it's up to the British government and people to decide. But I think it will be completely misguided for Britain to view China as an enemy or adversary or a competitor. What do China and Britain compete with?
Now, check out this list. Remembering, of course, that we manufacture and export hardly anything anymore. Certainly compared to the levels we used to historically. We're also behind the times so much on a manufacturing level, as well as an innovative level as well, with renewable energy and transport and things like this. So check this out.
Is the largest manufacturer of automobiles competing with Britain? No. China is the largest exporter of EV cars and will lead the whole world in EV production. Is Britain a competitor? No. China will be the biggest and most important producer and R&D in terms of semiconductor in no time. Does that mean that China competes with Britain? No. China will be the leading nation in AI revolution. Is Britain a competitor? No. So I think...
It's very brazen, but it's very truthful that he can sit there and like just take a massive dump on us. And I'm sure all the flag shaggers will be absolutely, you know, boiling their own piss over this one. But it's true. It's undeniable. We don't make any of those things. These are market leaders, and these are the technologies that are going to be supposedly the biggest in the early 21st century, towards the mid 21st century as well. The jury's excuse me, the jury's still out on AI. It's widely believed that there's a bubble where that's concerned, a financial bubble, but won't go into that. So no, we're not competing with China. Britain certainly isn't competing on the global stage with China. Get real. Wake up and smell the Chinese tea.
British government should not overestimate its impact on the global scene and view Britain as a rival of China. China is not. China is a fact. China is a megatrend for Britain to live with and get along with. Let's make peace rather than agitating for...
Yeah, so it's like we're massive and you're nothing. So there's no point in waging war. All this narrative that comes from UK politicians, I think is certainly inflammatory, and it doesn't help to ease tensions between relations. But it's all based on this deluded fantasy that we are we're on a par with these superstates when we're not, because it's 2026, not 1911 or whatever. That's some music, I think. Thank you. Oh yeah, I'd always rather have blunt honesty, Ephra. You know, I'm no flag shagger. Give me something to be proud of if you want me to be proud of my country. Don't just say, oh, we're better than these people because flags. It's just a ludicrous concept, isn't it? Yeah, it's all the Rule Britannia stuff, yeah. And still the same kind of language of internationally, that is, that America use so often. Should we let such and such do this, and should we allow another country to do this? You know, just stay in your own borders and protect your own land instead of gallivanting over the world and saying, we'd prefer if you did this, or we could install this puppet leader here so we can pilfer your resources. Again. Of course, always under the fake veil of morality, as opposed to profit, which is the true incentive. Profit and power, that's industrial military complex. Defined. That's all they want. Billy Bragg and Bruce Springsteen have got some new protest material out, do they? I can't say I've heard any of that, in all honesty. Comedy time, let's liven things up a bit now. I haven't had them on for a few weeks. I was hoping that everything was okay with the channel, but they are back with a bang. Always great to catch up with Larry and Paul and the Exploding Heads. Sorry, and the Broken News. What am I talking about? Not Exploding Heads. That was yesterday.
Right up him. Right up him. Welcome back to Broken News. Still to come, why Reform says it's the party to fix everything by employing all the dickheads who broke everything. But first, time to find out what's going on across the pond with the latest edition of State of the States. I'm joined by our US correspondent, Bob State. Bob, a busy time in US politics. Bob.
Yes, it certainly is, Ed, with Americans violently turning on other Americans and a slurry of lies falling from the mouths of the administration.
I don't know if we...
That was like me when I had to do the live stream watching the Liz Truss show. By the way, this is a faceless channel, but if anybody can envisage that, I can certainly sympathise with this guy.
Anger continues after the murder of a protester by what are unquestionably now Trump's version of the brown shirts.
Whoa! You're brown. Well, obviously there was a government press conference about that, Bob, and we understand that this man was a domestic terrorist who was armed and dangerous. And
we understand?
Yes, we understand. Broken News understands.
What do you mean, Broken News? What do you mean, we understand?
That's what we say in the news when someone in authority tells us something, we understand.
Right. Well, did you watch the video?
No, I didn't need to. There was a government press conference about the situation. So Broken News understands...
An innocent man was shot dead in the street by a state-sanctioned bunch of armed thugs just 2 weeks after an innocent woman was shot dead by the same thugs. Do you understand that?
Well, certainly Donald Trump is governing in perhaps a slightly more unconventional way to previous...
It's not just about Trump. He's not some aberration, is he? It's the whole administration. The whole apparatus is rotten. It's been coming for ages. Journalists like you need to stop pretending to be horrified or surprised by it all.
As journalists, we must remain impartial, and there are two sides to every story. And this man was...
This man had a name, actually, Ed. Yeah, his name was Alex Pretty. He was a nurse that looked after army veterans.
But he had a gun.
It's America, Ed. They've all got bloody guns.
But as journalists, we must ask why someone would turn up to a peaceful protest carrying a firearm.
God! You're as bad as those Second Amendment dribbling, Dodge Ram driving, backward mouth breathing hicks coming to the defence of gun ownership every time a room full of toddlers is shot up to mince by a machine gun wielding psychopath. But when an unaccountable paramilitary mob is set up by a tyrannical government in order to brutalise US citizens, which, by the way, is the whole sodding reason the stupid bloody amendment was set up in the first place, those people stay silent. They stop wanking on that the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. When the good guy actually turns up with the gun, the bad guys with guns execute him.
Let's talk about how the markets and how the Dow Jones have reacted to...
Let's talk about the markets and how the Dow Jones... No, let's not. Let's talk about the Greenland situation or Venezuela or how the San Moritz slathered septuagenarian swollen scrotum thinks he can just go around claiming other countries for his own.
Yeah, the Greenland situation, that was ages ago. The news cycle has moved on.
It was last week, Ed.
Oh, God, was it? But Venezuela, that was ages ago.
3 weeks ago, Ed.
That was this year?
Yes.
God.
Should we talk about Epstein?
You know what? I'd totally forgotten about Epstein.
Exactly. Tell you what, let's talk about the massive legal firms that this administration has banned from operating because they dared to take cases against Trump in the past.
Really? When was that?
Oh, wake up, Ed! I'm going to have to use the F word.
Oh, no. No, this is a family show. We can't have Effin and Jeff involved.
No, the other F word.
The other F word. Fannies, big fannies.
Fascism. Fascism, Ed.
Well, look, as journalists, it's not really for us to comment on what is...
Yes, it is. Yes, it literally is. Look, I'll do it now. Watch. Cult of personality. Devotion to the nation. Suppression of political opposition. Rejection of liberal democracy. By almost all definitions under this administration, the USA is now a fascist state.
So where does that leave the United Kingdom? The special relationship? George W. Bush and Tony Blair kissing in Iraq.
Where does it leave us?
Yeah.
Well, when our thoroughly disappointing leader is shit scared of one of his own regional mayors, how do you think he's going to stand up to big fat American Hitler? Our choices at this point are probably fall in line or get nuked.
But our friends in the European Union will protect us, won't they?
The ones we ghosted 10 years ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, exactly, Ed. Oh, bloody shit.
Thank you, Bob. What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Definitely worth the wait from Larry and Paul. Go and subscribe. That was really good. Oh, our mainstream media is the worst. It is the worst. Oh, sorry, my jaw still hurts. That was really good. Spot on indeed, Graham. I'd rather they did the actual news. If there was a 24-hour live stream of broken news. You'd never see me again. You just can't stop watching. In the same way that people can't stop watching the Brews at 10 on my left eye and hitting the thumbs up button. As I'm sure you're double checking that you've done right now, people.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
I can dig it. Up next, I've just got to do another quick plug. Not for the channel, although yours truly, of course, is part of this great new organisation. And I've mentioned this before, but just wanted to remind you all that there is the first Manchester meeting of new organisation, Take Back Power, coming up this weekend. So I'm just going to pull up the page. Yeah, please do come along. If you don't know a lot about the organisation, just very quickly, it's about obviously fighting the fash, but more democracy, better representation, with things like a citizens' assembly instead of the House of Lords. This is a serious long-term organisation as well. It's going to be spreading out into Scotland and Wales when this thing decides it wants to let me move the window. But you can see there, sorry, just part of the postcode's cut off, but this Saturday from 11 till 5 you can come to the Who We Are introduction training. So it's free to register. I'm going to put a link for the website in the page in the description, so do check that out. So I'm involved with this, a lot of my friends are involved with this as well. You can see that if you're not from Manchester, there are other talks and things coming up. You can see there on the homepage, takebackpower.net. That's takebackpower.net. And we have two shout-outs in the chat, Midi Doctors and Davinia, both with 5 gifted memberships, and they've all gone through. You can never be too careful these days, just check, double check. Awesome, fantastic. Thank you very much, Midi Doctors and Davinia. Big up please in the chat, everybody. Let's update the total. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm curious as to why I couldn't readjust the size of the screen capture there. Put it on the job list. So yeah, really excited, and you are going to be hearing a lot about Take Power Back. You might have already heard about some of the things that went on just before the end of the year with the Crown Jewels stunt, things like that. Non-violence direct action group. Come one, come all, and take power back. 172 now. That's amazing. Let's grab another quick tinker with this. Oh no, it wants to work. Okay, but I've already done the bit. But those 10 people will be added to this list. Now 172 towards 250. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for your gifted memberships on this stream as well as others. Renewing your own memberships as well. There's plenty of ways you can help support the channel, people. Simply by giving us a share across your social media. That's pretty important at the moment, actually. We know how certain platforms are clamping down on left-wing, pro-Palestine content providers. So please do give us a share. Super chats are open. Super stickers. There's also super thanks if you're watching back later on. And if you'd like to support us in a different medium, if you can't support the channel via YouTube, check out the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description of the stream. Graham now celebrating 13 months of membership. Thank you very much for subscribing in the first place and joining as a member. And also Idiosyncrasy, a member for 13 months. Wonderful. We do have a great audience on the channel. Always great to see you on streams as well. Always nice to see viewers celebrating how long they've been a member for. We're getting towards the end here, people, queuing up the raid as we speak. It's going to be this space. Yeah, we always like to go live. There are other channels that have them scheduled. So friends of the channel, yeah, from across the Atlantic. This space. Certainly a lot to talk about with American politics this week as well. So if you're a bit of a night owl, stay put for that. And hit thumbs up when you get over there as well. Before we finish off, just want to say thanks to Graham for that super chat. Viva Viva Palestina. Solidari-Tea. Can we please big up Graham in the chat, please, everybody? Excellent. Thank you for all your contributions on tonight's stream. Really do appreciate all of them. Yes, MIDI. And this space are expanding as well. So they have a host of presenters, and like you say, get over there, check out the channel. They are serious about changing politics in America. It's not all dick jokes, you know. We have another 5 gifted memberships as well from Doc Davies. Solidari-Tea. 177. It's live streaming heaven. You get free puns as well, free rhymes. Can we big up everybody who's gifted memberships in the chat? In the chat, please, everybody. Thanks again for that, Doc.
socialists.
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
Jurassic Park.
Okay, we're all queued up. I'll be back with more streams later in the week. Do try and get down to that meeting I mentioned on Saturday. You can register on the website. There will be a link in the description. But it's takebackpower.net. Takebackpower.net as well. Thank you very much for being here this evening. I've been your humble host Lefty, here on the Brews at 10. On my left eye, free Palestine, free Lebanon, free Sudan, free Yemen, free the Fulton 24. Power to the people, and don't let the bastards grind you down. Alright, brothers, sisters, there, thems and comrades alike, signing off now. Good evening, my left eye, I'll be seeing you soon. Good night.